Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. At the beginning of the movie in Middle Forest of Uganda, a fugitive named Lucifer approached a terrorist leader, Stephen Abano. Lucifer offers him a very tempting investment. He says he will hold a high-level gambling event in a few days. He assures to share the profits with Abano and will help him fund his missions. Hearing this appealing offer, Abano agrees and then hand over 2 big briefcases full of cash to support his plan. Meanwhile, in Madagascar, an MI6 agent named James Bond was tracked down a man named Malaka. He is suspected bomb maker. With him is one of his colleagues named Carter. They are assigned to arrest him because recently England has received several bomb terrors. Unfortunately, Malaka discovers that he is being watched and tried to run. In pursuit of Malaka, James is taken aback because it turns out that Malaka has good strength and stunning parkour skill. They jump from one building to another until finally Malaka enters the embassy office. Knowing the only way to catch him is to follow him in, James enters the embassy office and immediately arrests Malaka. The alarm in the building triggers and the security begin to show up. While trying to escape from the building with full guards, James set an explosion in the embassy and managed to take the bag containing the bomb, including Malaka's cell phone, and left from there immediately. As soon as he feels secure, he then opens a message containing the word ellipsis, which might be a secret code. Instantly, he traced where the message came from using a laptop. Later, the chief of MI6 suddenly shows up. She has just returned from the MI6 headquarters. She instantly rebukes James for killing a man earlier, and what he did at the embassy's office gives them trouble uncovering the real funder of the entire network of terrorist syndicates, which is getting more out of control. Meanwhile, Lucifer, who was playing poker, got information that the embassy office was attacked by British agents. It turns out that Malaka was one of his men. He is angry because his plan failed. From the tips James got, he decides to go Bahamas. As he arrives there and he goes to a hotel called the Ocean Club because he knows that his target hunt is going to be there. He manages his way in and enters the surveillance camera room. He checks the footage to find suspect member of an international terrorist syndicate. After cross-checking the time with the message in Malaka's cell phone, James finds his target, who drives a silver Aston Martin. Luckily, James with his swag is able to get more information from the hotel's receptionist. He finds out that target name is Dimitrios and he lives near the beach. Gets a report that James is in Bahamas and is hacking into MI6's sites using M's name and password. He eventually manages to open Alex Dimitrios, Lucifer, and some other people's data to collect various information related to the terrorist network. After getting all the information, James immediately leaves to the hotel lobby where he meets Dimitrios playing poker. He summons courage and offers to join the table where he gets to know Dimitrios and his wife, Solange. James is a very good gambler. He manages to win many times and gathered a lot of chips. He triggers Dimitrios to bet all his chips with his Aston Martin. When they open their cards, James becomes the champion. James wins all the chips and Dimitrios' car. He leaves and James instantly takes the opportunity to tease Solange to gather more information about Dimitrios, her husband. From the information he got from Solange, it was discovered that he will meet someone at the museum. James follows immediately because he wants to know whom Dimitrios is meeting, but when James isn't looking, unexpectedly Dimitrios is got behind him with a knife pointing towards James. James is forced to kill him because he realized that he was being followed and recognized his face. After that, James takes Dimitrios' cell phone to find out whom he was contacting. He discovered that Dimitrios had deliberately came to the museum to give a bag to someone who is now on his way to Miami International Airport. Suddenly, the man that received the bag finds out that James has been following him. He then enters a room and disguised himself as one of the guards. James instantly contacts them so that she can inform the airport security that someone is carrying a bomb. Based on the information gotten, the criminal is assigned a mission to blow up a Skyfleet S-570 prototype plane. James quickly presses the fire alarm to get everyone out of the airport. Surprisingly, the man in disguise has hijacked a car parked in front of the airport and proceeds to the hangar to hijack a refueling truck. He attaches a keychain, which is a small bomb, to the tanker. James finds out the man's intention is to crash the truck into the plane. James starts chasing and jump into a truck to stop him. With this, James is able to into the cabin and beat the man. He almost fell off the truck, but luckily, he is able to hang his foot on the seatbelt. That is when he detects the keychain. He immediately took it. The man manages to get off the truck and left James in the truck heading towards the plane with high speed. James manages to stop the truck right before it crashed into the plane from a distance. The terrorist smiles because he has another way to detonate the bomb, but when he pressed the trigger, the bomb exploded right beside him and killed him instantly. The incident reveals that the reason for the bombing is propaganda, so that the shares bought by Lucifer could double, but with the incident earlier, he suffered a loss of $100 million. Meanwhile, M has landed in the Bahamas. She called James because Solange, the woman that provided James with the information about Dimitrios, is found dead. James believes that Lucifer ordered her assassination to remove traces. Feeling that Lucifer has gone too far, M asked James to participate in Texas Hold'em that Lucifer held to arrest him and dismantle the international terrorism syndicate. Then without hesitation he agrees and leaves by train. In this mission, James is accompanied by a woman from the government named Vesper Lind. She is assigned to guard the money that James will use to play poker. As soon as they arrive in Montenegro and got 2 fake passports to carry out the mission, they check in to stay at a luxurious hotel and are given a sports car to support James' mission. The car is equipped with a med kit that has an antidote in it, in case James is poisoned during his mission. After that, James and Vesper also met an old man known as Rene Mathis. He is an informant who works with MI6 to catch Lucifer. It is also discovered that Lucifer arrives Montenegro a day before with some of his men. In the evening, James and Vesper are seen getting ready for the poker game. Shortly after, James walks down because the event will start soon. When he got there, everyone is briefed by the betting holder named Mendel. He explains that everyone who take part in poker must fill in 6-character password to maintain security if they emerge as the winner. The event finally begins and the participants start betting. The players are focused on their game, but when Lucifer raises his bet, everyone but James decided to fold. James continued to raise his bet too. It turns out that Lucifer won the bet because he has a full house. Luckily, James instead chose to fold before the card is shown. After the game, James asked permission from the committee to rest while taking a tracking device that is prepared. He plans to insert the tracking device into Lucifer's inhaler to find out which room he stays in at the hotel. Round after round passes and after 4 hours playing poker, the committee announces that all the players should to take 1-hour break. James, who was desperate to kill Lucifer, goes up to the 4th floor with Vesper to find Lucifer's room, but when he gets there, James is surprised because Abano is already there to collect the money that he has invested. Knowing that soon there will be a fight, James immediately tells Vesper to return to her room, but it was too late. Abano sights them when he and his men are about to leave the hotel. Without any difficulty, James with Vesper help manage to kill Abano and his men. After that, they get back to their room to change clothes. After changing his suit, James returned to the table to continue his poker game. A few hours after, James involves in an intense encounter with Lucifer when he placed a 500,000 bet for a full house card. Lucifer then raises his bet to $1 million. Unexpectedly, James challenges him again by doing a raise to $2 million because he thinks Lucifer is just bluffing, but surprisingly, Lucifer decides to all in and bet all $14.5 million. James decides to do the same. He is sure that he will win the game, but it turns out that Lucifer wins because he has a 4-of-a-kind jack card, which is indeed higher than James' card, even though he has a full house. After witnessing this tough battle, the committee tells everyone to rest. For the defeat, James is not allowed to use the additional $5 million from the Ministry of Treasury because Vesper is sure that James will lose all the money. James decides to kill Lucifer by using a knife from the dinner table, but a man stopped him. The man said that he will give him additional fund for James to return to playing poker. The man is Felix Leader, an agent from the CIA whose goal is also to catch Free. The deal is Felix will arrest Lucifer as soon as James manages to beat him, while the entire poker winnings will belong to James. James returned to the poker table with chips worth $5 million. He also asked for a glass of martini, but the moment he drank it, he feels his heart beating faster than normal. He knows someone has poisoned him and feels the effects of the poison spread throughout his body. James rushes to the parking lot and then got into his car. He contacted the MI6 headquarters so that the agents there will guide James using the first aid kit that was prepared. From there, James put a defibrillator on his chest because it is known that the poison is a high-dose heart booster and to reduce his heartbeat back to normal. James has to inject an antidote and use a defibrillator if he starts to feel blackout. Sadly, he didn't manage to activate the defibrillator on time before he fainted. Fortunately, Vesper shows up on time and saved James. After that, James changed his suit to continue the game to win Lucifer. Here, there are 4 remaining players on the table, making the game even more intense because the stakes this time has risen to a high level. James is starting to be able to collect chips again from his wins over other players. After the dealer distributed the cards, one of the players from Japan takes an all-in worth of $6 million because he felt that his card will bring him win. Suddenly, Lucifer raises his bet to $12 million because he felt that it was an insult. James then risks all of his chips, which is worth $40.5 million. As they open all the cards, surprisingly, James eventually wins the poker match with a straight flush. Everyone is surprised with James' win. After accompanying James to dinner, Vesper asks to leave first because Mathis is waiting for her at the lobby, but James' mind tells him that something nasty will happen to Vesper. His instinct is true because the moment Vesper leaves to the lobby, she is kidnapped by unknown. James immediately chases the kidnapper using his car, but when James runs into a sharp turn, the kidnapper put Vesper in the middle of the road, and he almost hit her with his car. He tries to turn his car at the cost of the car. It turns out that the someone behind her kidnapping is Lucifer, who is still desperate because the money to fund his plan is in James' hand. At that moment, Lucifer also reveals that Mathis is his accomplice who disguised himself as the informant for MI6. James and Vesper are brought to an unknown location and tortured. Here, James' clothes are stripped away until he has nothing left on his body. He is forced to sit on a chair with a hole in the middle. Lucifer tortured James, hitting his private parts to give him the passcode. He gets angry because James insists not to give the passcode. Lucifer is so desperate to cut off his private parts, but when he was about to win, an agent suddenly shows up and shot him dead. Finally, James is saved and admitted to the hospital to recover. Mathis shows up and he feels strange how James and Vesper are still alive. Suddenly, 2 agents of MI6 shows to arrest him for betraying them. Weeks later, James' condition begins to improve. After that, Mendel shows to withdraw the money from the match, which amount to $120 million, that will be sent to the Ministry of Treasury account. After the money is sent, they both go on vacation to Venice to celebrate James' success in defeating Lucifer. During their vacation, James tells Vesper that he loves her very much and that he will leave MI6 to settle with her. Following day, Vesper tells James that she wants to the bank to validate a report regarding the money transferred to the Ministry of Treasury's account. Few minutes later, James, who has been waiting for Vesper in the hotel room, is surprised because M calls him and asks about the money. Now, James realized that Vesper has lied to him all this while, but he doesn't know Vesper's motives to have the heart to do something of such. Not long after, James to finally find Vesper, who is meeting someone handing over the suitcase full with cash. The person notices James' presence. A gunfight started, which makes a floating house start to sink because one of the bullets hits one of the house's floats. James has to fight 2 people in his condition with his impeccable skill and manage to kill them both. After successfully paralyzing them, James immediately rushed to save Vesper, who is stuck in the elevator. James has to accept the reality that Vesper prefers to die as a regret. She is too embarrassed for lying to James, who loves her sincerely. Days later, James finds out that Vesper had previously worked with someone named Mr. White. He was also Lucifer's accomplice. Vesper did all that because her boyfriend was kidnapped by the organization behind Lucifer, so they blackmailed Vesper and threatened to kill her boyfriend unless she cooperates. Now, Mr. White has betrayed Lucifer and just wants the money. James then decides to find Mr. White's whereabouts. Finally, he finds Mr. White's location without difficulty. He has just arrived at his luxurious mansion. Without any further delay, James shot Mr. White's right leg so he can't escape anywhere. He feels his anger increasing at that moment and is about to kill Mr. White to revenge what he did and prepare to shoot Mr. White's in the head. The end. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos update. Like, share and turn on notification to help the channel.